across the American West, no machine carried more promise, or more cash, than the express train. Steel rails, iron safes, and the wide-open Wyoming dark that had no intention of protecting either one. In the final years of the Gilded Age, 6 masked men with white napkin masks and a crate of dynamite would prove that the most sophisticated railroad in the American West could be stopped, robbed, and escaped from, and that the stolen money itself would eventually betray them. This is the story of the Wild Bunch at Wilcox. June 2nd, 1899. 2 in the morning, and 3 dynamite charges, and the longest manhunt in the history of the American West. This is Rail Hunters USA, a documentary look at the trains that built America. Just after 2 a.m. June 2nd, 1899. Wilcox Station, Albany County, Wyoming. Engineer W.R. Jones sees lanterns on the track ahead and slows the Overland Flyer number 1 to a stop. He assumes a washout warning. He is wrong. 2 masked men step onto the locomotive cab with drawn guns. 4 more emerge from the darkness alongside the train, and the masks are white cloth napkins. Some accounts say stolen from a Harvey House restaurant along the line. In the next 90 minutes, the Wild Bunch will blow a railroad bridge, destroy an express car with dynamite, blast open a massive iron safe, and vanish into the Wyoming backcountry on pre-positioned horses with between $30,000 and $50,000. The Pacific Express Company messenger, Charles Woodcock, will refuse to open the car door and be blown unconscious for his trouble. Sheriff Joe Hazen of Converse County will be shot dead in the pursuit. And the stolen banknotes, their corners blown off by the dynamite, I will leave a trail through the American banking system that no posse horse could ever follow. The engineer's telegram to Union Pacific offices in Omaha arrived at dawn. First section number 1 held up a mile west of Wilcox. Express car blown open. Mail car damaged. Safe blown open. Contents gone. If you want to see how this story ends, how Pinkerton detectives tracked stolen bills by serial number across 2 continents, how a studio photograph taken in Fort Worth became the most famous wanted poster in the American West, and why the last 2 members of the Wild Bunch ended up in a firefight with the Bolivian army. Here's what I ask. See that subscribe button? It's our exchange. Your way of saying this reached you. Hit subscribe if this resonated, drop a like if it moved you, and tell us in the comments what you know about this train or this gang. It helps us share more stories like this. Back to the locomotive. To understand how 6 men in white napkin masks brought the most powerful railroad in the American West to a stop, we have to understand what the Wild Bunch was, and what the West was, in 1899. The frontier was closing. The open range was being fenced. But in the canyon country of Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado, there were still places a man on horseback could disappear completely. The Wild Bunch was not a single gang. It was a loose confederation, outlaws who gathered for specific jobs, then scattered. At its core were Robert Leroy Parker, known as Butch Cassidy, and Harry Longabaugh, the Sundance Kid. Around them orbited Harvey Logan, Kid Curry, the gang's most dangerous gunman, and flat-nosed George Curry, Elzie Lay, Seed and others whose names changed with each job. Their headquarters was Hole in the Wall, a nearly inaccessible canyon in north-central Wyoming with a single entrance that could be held by 2 rifles against 100 men. From there, with fresh horses pre-positioned along relay routes, they could strike a train or a bank and be in terrain no posse could follow within hours. Cassidy was the planner. He scouted routes, timed schedules, organized the horse relays. He was meticulous and, by his own proud account, had never killed a man. The Wilcox job was classic Cassidy. Thorough preparation, a clean entry point, a pre-arranged escape, and enough dynamite to handle any safe that didn't open voluntarily. The target was the Union Pacific Overland Flyer No. 1, carrying express cargo belonging to the Pacific Express Company. Intelligence, likely supplied by a former railroad employee with connections to the gang, indicated the safe would carry a significant payload on the night of June 2nd. The Overland Flyer ran in 2 sections, 10 minutes apart. The gang had exactly that window to complete the job. At 2:18 a.m., Jones stopped the train at the Lanterns. 2 men boarded the cab. Jones was ordered to pull the locomotive, express car, and mail car across the bridge ahead, and keep moving. The passenger cars were left behind. Once across, the gang packed the bridge with dynamite. The explosion dropped it, or damaged it severely enough to stop the second section, which was already slowing after the brakeman ran back to warn it. Woodcock was ordered to open the express car door. He refused. He was a Union Pacific man, and whatever was in that safe was his responsibility. The gang packed dynamite against the door. When it blew, Woodcock was thrown backward, conscious but dazed, the combination to the safe completely gone from his mind. A second charge went on the safe. The gang miscalculated the amount. But the explosion was not surgical. It was catastrophic. The sides of the express car blew out. The roof lifted. Sections of the car were thrown 150 yards across the Wyoming plain. The safe was open. And so was everything else. From the wreckage, between $30,000 and $50,000 in gold, currency, banknotes, and jewelry. Some of the bills had their corners blown off by the blast. Some were stained with raspberry juice from a damaged fruit crate in the car. The gang loaded their saddlebags, mounted their waiting horses, and rode north into the dark. Within 24 hours, now the Union Pacific's No. 4, a specially outfitted pursuit train based in Laramie, was at the scene. The Pinkerton Detective Agency was called in. The Burlington Railroad's own detectives joined the chase. The Wyoming governor dispatched Company C of the state militia. Nearly 100 men were in the field by the following morning, and the reward stood at $3,000 a head. The gang split near Lost Cabin and went separate ways. The trail went cold. But then the Pinkertons made the move that would eventually end the Wild Bunch entirely. They stopped following horses and started following money. Every serial number on every stolen bill had been cataloged. When a note surfaced at a bank, a corner blown off or stained with raspberry juice, the Pinkertons knew who had been in that town. Lonnie Logan exchanged stolen notes in Fort Benton, Montana. The Pinkertons surrounded his location. When he ran for the back door, he was shot dead. Sheriff Joe Hazen was killed during the pursuit by Harvey Logan and Flatnose Curry. The gang's world was shrinking with each bill that surfaced at a bank window. In December 1900, 5 members of the Wild Bunch gathered in Fort Worth, Texas, and had their photograph taken at a studio on Main Street, suited like businessmen, composed, almost laughing. Now, the photographer put the image in his window as an advertisement. A Pinkerton informant walked past, recognized the faces, and the photograph became the most effective wanted poster the agency had ever produced. By 1901, Butch and Sundance were gone. Aboard a British steamer bound for Buenos Aires, with Sundance's companion Etta Place. They settled a ranch in Patagonia. They robbed banks in Argentina and Bolivia when the money ran low. In November 1908, after robbing a silver mine payroll in Bolivia, they were surrounded by the army in a village called. The next morning, the 2 bodies were found inside the building where they had sheltered. The Washington Post declared that the Wild Bunch had disappeared with the march of civilization. Woodcock, The express messenger who refused to open the door at Wilcox was assigned to another Union Pacific Express car at Tipton, Wyoming, 14 months later, when the Wild Bunch struck again. This time, he opened the door. The Wilcox robbery was later depicted in the 1903 film The Great Train Robbery. 12 minutes, the first narrative film most Americans had ever seen, and a direct descendant of what happened on a Wyoming plain at 2 in the morning with white napkin masks and too much dynamite. The stolen money, the blown corners of the bills, the serial numbers moving through the banking system like a slow confession. None of it was supposed to work that way, and yet it did. If this story moved you, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us preserve the history of these trains and the railroads that built America. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from.